All right, and then we got a video here recommended by you guys. Brett Cooper covered why women are leaving the workforce.
Welcome back to the comments section. I'm Brett Cooper. Now, working is a normal part of life. Work. I think most of us are used to it. Sometimes we have a little less fun than usual.
I couldn't think of a more horrible job if I wanted.
The grind gets us down, but in my opinion, working, being productive, that is a fulfilling part of life, especially if you love what you do, especially if you are working to provide for your family. That is fulfilling in itself. So a lot of people find joy in their work, even if...
Unfortunately, those especiallys don't apply to 99% of people. They're working just to live. They don't love what they do for work. They went to school because they didn't want to die poor. And they got sold the dream that if you go to college, you'll get a nice job and you'll be able to afford your dream life and have things you ever wanted. And your job got outsourced. Oops, that doesn't exist here in the States anymore. Now you're going to take your fat 4-year degree with a mortgage payment on top and go do something like Walmart manager. Good job, bro.
Some of the day-to-day grind is not as fun, but that's just very normal. But now I'm seeing this new trend on social media where girls are fed up with the fact that they have to work. They don't want to be girl bosses anymore. They are asking to rewind the clock and go back to the times that they had to stay in the home and not actually go to work, which is incredibly ironic considering that feminism runs rampant in our world and we're told that all women just want to be girl bosses and that is what is going to make us very, very happy and fulfilled. Newsflash, maybe it does not. We're going to talk about that today. Before we do, though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a comment section or off the clock episode. Alrighty, so the video that sparked this entire episode and a lot of these conversations online is this TikTok from a couple months ago, and it now has like over 6 million views. Let's watch this.
Whoever fought for women to get jobs. Why? Why did we do that? I am so tired. I want to just put my feet up. Oh my god.
6 million views, and the comments did not disappoint. Somebody said, for real, why did they do that? I would have been completely chill running a household, cooking, going shopping, cleaning, stress-free, like, ugh, I hate working.
I don't like my job, and I don't think I'm gonna go anymore.
Another person said, we're meant for home and to look pretty. I thought we hated the 1950s. I thought that's what feminism taught us. That we are supposed to hate flitting around the house in a little, tightly waisted dress and, cooking dinner for our husbands. I thought that was a terrible, terrible thing, but we want that now? Shocking how it all came full circle. Somebody else said, we fought to do something other than cleaning the house, but tell me why I'm still doing it. Point. Another person said, should have fought a little less hard. And then there were a lot of people who were saying, like, we wanted the opportunity to do it, but I didn't want to be forced to do it. That's the government's fault. Huge taxes, making it impossible for people to live off of a single income. Blame them. Now, like I said, 6 million views. There were articles written up about this TikTok, like working woman cries and asks why we fought so hard for women to get jobs in the first place. I am so tired. I relate right now, girl. It's been a long week. Now, this even made its way to the men's rights subreddit, which is just always a trip and so interesting. But this person says, imagine having someone voluntarily work 60-hour work weeks for you, providing for your every need and want, while the only expectation is that you cook, clean, and care for the children. And considering that slavery and oppression, even just reading that paragraph is just shocking to me, because how have we been conditioned to believe that being taken care of and tending for your home and playing with adorable, cute little children that you birthed, that you created, is slavery? How did they reprogram us to believe that? Anyway, this guy goes on. Even more, these same women refuse to date a man who would willingly stay home and do the same. So they don't even want role reversal. They want to be just as miserable as men are, and they'll call it equality. Congratulations and welcome to the consequences of your choices. You've played yourself. That line is so good in there. They just want to be as miserable as men are. I think the better line would just be they want to be as miserable as possible, because that gives them fodder. That gives them ammunition to be as angry and rabbity, feministy as possible. That's what they really want. Because then that gives them a new platform and a new angle to be pissed about stuff like the patriarchy did this to me. I'm so angry because of you. No, it's actually because of you. Somebody else said, who gives a f? Men have been doing the grind since forever. The feminists wanted equality, then they can have the responsibility that goes along with it. Suck it up. Exactly. Another person said, the problem is the socioeconomic system, not that women want to work. Salaries are horrible and everything is more expensive. Being most of the day tired is not the way to live. Very, very true. The economy.
And essentially this started in 1971, coming off the gold standard, sexual revolution, doubling of the workforce, rapid inflation, the petrodollar, everything we saw in that first video of the day today. And now we just had a pandemic where we just printed record amounts of money for the first time in history. We've never printed this amount of money. in all of history. And so the money supply is out of control and inflation is out of control and cost of living has gotten out of control. And now the idea of being a stay-at-home mom and enjoying raising your children, having a man take care of you, is even further away from reality.
Economy is absolutely dog shit right now, for lack of a better word. People are really, really struggling. Very few people are able to live off of a single income family. And if you do, you are making huge sacrifices for your partner and for your children, which is incredible. And that is something to be admired. But it is very, very hard to do that. It is nearly impossible in Joe Biden's economy.
Come on, man.
Somebody else said the two-parent.
And I get shitting on Joe Biden and the administration that's currently running things, but it's not just this administration's fault. Again, this happened in the 1970s with Nixon and the corporatization of America. So this has been going on much on the trickle-down economics and all this bullshit. Like nothing has trickled down. If anything, more wealth is concentrated at the top. This is decades-long policy rearing its ugly head in the day-to-day lives. The kicking the can down the road that politicians like to do, Democrats and Republicans alike, it's the uniparty. They're both fucking shit for the average person. They kick the can down the road. And now we're dealing with it. They were screaming about not getting off the gold standard in the 70s. They were screaming about inflation. They were screaming about the money supply. They're screaming about hypersexualization of the economy in the 70s, in the 60s, in the 50s. It's going to get bad for our grandkids. It's going to get bad for our children. We need real solutions. Nobody listens. They just see the profit right now at the expense of the man next to you. Here it is, bearing fruit today, and it's just starting to blossom. Boy, oh boy, do we have a long ways to go.
Working household this all up so much to the point that we are now financially worse off and more unhappy than ever before. Yes. Now, I thought this particular comment was interesting. This guy said, I hate it when women are like, oh my God, I have to work and then come home and do housework. If you're living on your own, no shit. Everyone has to do housework if they live alone. If you're living with people, have them do some, or imagine they probably are. If you are in a relationship with a man and he refuses to do any housework and he isn't a millionaire or making six figures or something, then either break up or get him to start doing his fair share. Women are not the only ones doing work. Men, for all of history, work and then came home to do housework. It has changed a lot, but it is the truth. This is the truth, because taking care of the home and feeding yourself is literally part of staying alive. It is just part of living as a functioning human in society. Taking care of yourself, it's the bare minimum. But I see all these wives on TikTok who get on their high horse and say, oh my God, I can't believe I have to work and then come home and do other work. You're still a human being. Having a job does not make you exempt from taking care of your life outside of your job. That's just real life. You can like it or you can hate it, but that's just part of life, and that's not your husband's fault, ever.
Like ever.
The patriarchy did not do that to you. Actually, women did that to you. Feminists did that to you. So maybe you should, re-angle your anger. I saw these comments all over that girl's TikTok that kind of connected with that guy's Reddit post, and he said, no, because we went from cooking and cleaning to cooking and cleaning and working. Another person said, nah, for real, we're expected to cook and clean too? Like, why? Somebody else said, literally, now we're working and still cleaning and cooking. That's double the work we used to do. Then why are you angry at the patriarchy? They did not do this to you. Like, seriously, this girl in the TikTok got it right, because it's not the men's fault. It's Susan B. Anthony. Like, it is the feminist movement that lied to women and told them that this would be fulfilling, that taking on this additional labor outside of what we are
Co-opted by the CIA. Remember, never forget, the spooks had a plant that was pushing all this shit. And in case you don't believe me, here you go. You could look it up for yourself. There's plenty of articles on the CIA and feminism. Two-faced relationship between CIA and feminism. So legit deep state social conditioning here. The relationship between the CIA and feminism is not new. For example, it was revealed that Gloria Steinem, who is still considered a pioneer and respected feminist even today, was funded by the CIA from the early 50s to the 1960s. This funding relationship is thought to have been continued even longer, although Steinem has denied it, as any spook would. When asked about the topic, she praised her funder, saying that the CIA boasts a liberal and non-violent environment. The name of the foundation she founded with CIA funding was ironic: Independent Research Service. Through this foundation, she worked to disseminate feminist ideas in the world, especially in the US. The CIA calls such people change agents, the figures who make the public adopt arguments that the US establishment orders deem appropriate, are supported in various ways, and are highlighted in the public sphere. Look at that. Wow. It's almost like women just really got played by the man. Again.
They're designed to do would actually be good for us because they were bitter and angry. Now we've come full circle and we've realized that it's not actually good for us. Now, again, cooking and cleaning and working, that is just a part of being a normal functioning human being. And again, men did not do that to you. That is the point. Now, if you get married and you both work, hopefully you can also balance your household chores, but there will be weeks when your husband is doing more for you. There will be weeks that you are doing more for him. Doing the laundry once a week for your husband, folding his socks, that's not oppression. That's being a good partner. Having an extra hour of work every couple of weeks is not oppression. That is caring for somebody that you love. That is not a bad thing. And I guarantee it's more balanced than you think, because I guarantee these women on TikTok who are so upset about it, when their husbands walk in the door from work, they're going to go, would you mow the lawn? Could you take the trash out? I don't want to do that. Your husbands are still working outside of work. And if you really are with a deadbeat and you are carrying all the work, like that Redditor said, you probably should address that. But, find somebody who is able to support both of you if you do not want to work, or be with somebody who is willing to balance, to share the load with you, because you're going to be working at home regardless. Anyway, I digress. So these women have now girl bossed way too close to the sun. They are so tired. They don't want to do it anymore. They want to go home and take a nap in their new Buffy bedding, which is my new favorite bedding. Now, as many of you know, I am constantly traveling. % off your order. Literally just doing that ad read made me sleepy, so I can relate with all of these ex-feminists. Ex-feminists, that's what I'm calling them. I wanted to see if I could actually quantify these sentiments that I'm seeing in the comment sections and on TikTok, of not wanting to work. And obviously, I'm sure a lot of women these days would like not to work, but again, considering the economy, it's not really possible.
It's funny because when it comes to choice, like they all claim, we just want the ability to choose. We want the right to make our own decision. And when a woman chooses the traditional way, she's absolutely flamed like crazy all over TikTok, all over Instagram. Just read the comment sections, other women tearing women down for wanting the traditional stay-at-home lifestyle. We cover so many videos of those so-called trad wives, the trad cons, that are staying at home, raising their babies, cooking for their husbands, cleaning the house, making videos about literally living what a dream life would be for the boss babes, staying at home while their man earns all the money and watching their cute little babies. And they get absolutely ripped in the comments. Pick me, you sold out, internalized misogyny, all this stuff. I thought it was about choice. I thought it was about supporting the sisterhood. I thought it was about giving a woman the right to choose and empowering her to do so. So it's only empowering when you make my decision, when the choice you make is the choice I support. Because if you choose to just stay at home and not work, we're enemies now. It's a problem. That's not the choice you were given. The choice you were given was work, and work even more. Crazy, huh?
However, I wanted to see what I could find, especially in terms of married women staying home, and I actually found a lot. So here's an article, this is from 2021, right after COVID. 48% of women don't want to go back to work in the office full time. And this article says, a new study by PerceptXY, an employee listening and people analytics platform, found that compared to 6 months ago, 48% of women are less likely to want to return to their workplace in a full-time capacity. 62% of women were working on-site in pre-pandemic times, compared with 47% of male employees, which is just so crazy. Like, we're outnumbering men now in the workforce. And, in terms of getting college degrees, the pendulum has just shifted. Like, no wonder women are burned out, because now we're literally doing more. We're dominating that space, and you realize that that's not actually what you want to do. We've got a lot to roll back here. The report also highlights that over 2 million women have left the workforce entirely since the pandemic began. Quote, while it's shocking that more than 2 million women have left the workforce as a result of the pandemic, it's not that surprising that the majority of women looking for a hybrid work arrangement would prefer to spend fewer days in the office than their male counterparts. Caregiving responsibilities, whether for children or elderly parents, consistently falls to women. They always make it sound like that's such a bad thing. Like, oh, it falls to women. They must do this. You know that women can say no. We have autonomy. Like, you can decide not to have children. You can have your brother care for your elderly parents. I'm sorry to be harsh, but you can put your parents in a nursing home if you really want to go be a girl boss CEO. Have these journalists ever considered that maybe women find more fulfillment in those tasks, that they want to spend time with their children, that they would like to have a hybrid job so they can go home and take their kids to soccer or spend time with them or cook dinner for them because they love that? Maybe because we're good at that, because that's what we're actually designed to do. Now, I work with a lot of women, and I have never heard any of them say, oh, I have to go home and do this with my child. Oh, I have to go home and cook dinner and care for my kid and see my kid. I want to stay and keep working, but I have to go to soccer. But no, it's always this longing to go home and be with their children and see their children, counting down the hours until they can escape and go be with their kids. Granted, I work with wonderful women who aren't rabid feminists, but you get the point. There is a longing there because they're mothers. Now, another article from Forbes shares numbers similar to the above, why women are leaving the workforce, and they said that this is partially due to the great something, further the Great Resignation, or as many of my colleagues prefer to call it, the Great Reckoning, which is still taking a toll. They are also calling this the Great Breakup, where women employees are considering a breakup with employers. But it's not just about finding a better opportunity with a different employer, which would be better for the overall world of work, to be sure. Women are leaving. Oh my God. They're reevaluating. They're cutting back. They're breaking up with their own careers. The audacity. The study found that in the past year, 29% of women have considered reducing their hours, taking an easier job, or leaving the workforce altogether. By comparison, some 22% of men are also in that boat. But again, we're talking about less and less women the further up the ladder we go. Oh my God. I enjoyed the horror of this entire Forbes article. Like, the writer was freaking out the entire time. There was a whole graph about how there will be less female CEOs because of all this. Like, I'm sorry, Forbes writer, do you know what will happen? The world will keep spinning. If women leave the workforce in droves, the world will keep spinning. Industries will continue to grow, men will be hired, and women and families will probably be happier. It's really not the end of the world. I hope you enjoyed this.
Wow, that's an interesting comment. When I first saw one of your videos, I was a liberal, and I thought everything you said was terribly offensive. Fuck, the indoctrination, huh? But eventually I realized that what you were saying had more truth in it than I'd been led to believe. Thank you, because you seriously changed the way I look at the world. Jeez. See, I love comments like that. I read that stuff all the time in my comment section too. And it's like, hey, I've been watching your videos and it completely changed the way I think and the way I look at what I do and how I affect my behavior and blah, 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 blah. And men feel more empowered and send me emails about how their life is changing. That's good. That's great. So even though we make these videos covering these things that may seem like common sense to the first timer or somebody on the other side of the aisle that's been blinded by indoctrination, been told how to think and what to think, it's like a shock to their system to see things like this because it doesn't resonate with them deeply what they're being told. They feel something different. And then, the soul attracts that which it harbors. So they find themselves watching this kind of content. This is a good comment that just ends it. My wife has been a stay-at-home mom for almost 10 years. It's been a struggle, but we refuse to let this world raise our kids.
Perfect.
That's a good one to end it on. Bravo, Ryan. May we all reach that level one day.
Well, I'm Jordan.